All right, can I eat for my cycle if I'm on birth control? This is a question I get oftentimes because, you know, there are a lot of different factors that go into our lives, that go into what we're doing, how we're trying to help our hormones. And for gals that are on birth control, they're like, okay, I want to support my hormones, but I'm on birth control. What does that mean? What does that do? So I'm going to break it down into kind of a very simplistic analogy with this. Is this technically exactly how it works for every single person? No. Does it depend on the type of birth control you're on? Yes. So work with me on this. Like, this is meant as an analogy to kind of understand how your system reacts on birth control typically, and then how we can really help your hormones, and is it even worth it or beneficial to for your hormones at this point? So this is what the hormonal cycle would be. Again, this is just a drawing, just an example of it. Day 1 would be the first day of your period. Day 14 is about when you would ovulate. Day 28 is when that would end. If you are having a cycle like this, meaning you are not on a birth control, your estrogen will rise here and your progesterone will rise here in the second 2 weeks. First 2 weeks is more estrogen, second 2 weeks is more progesterone overall, right? Now, when we talk about eating for your hormones and cycle, I always talk about for the estrogen phase, eating cooling, right? Cooling toned foods, again, this is the Eastern medicine piece of it. So again, if you're like, what does that mean? Temperature-wise? Yes, and types of foods. And then warming toned foods overall. Again, if you're not familiar with this, I have a ton of videos on YouTube, so you can subscribe to my YouTube channel where I talk about this, but also I have my books, The Female Fat Solution and The Female Menopause Solution, that dive into this as well. Great resources. So eating for cooling and warming, yes. But when you're on a birth control of some kind, what does that mean for your hormones? What does that mean that they're doing? Well, most of estrogen and progesterone, most of it is produced by your ovaries. Your ovaries, right? Your ovaries are active, right? These are supposed to be your ovaries. Sorry. Don't they look like ovaries? No. And they like pop out an egg, pop out an egg. Every other month, it's going to pop out an egg. Boop, boop, boop. That's if it's working well, right? Okay. So when you have active ovaries, your cycle will do this, right? But if you are on a birth control, what happens is that your ovaries just kind of go dormant. They don't go anywhere, nothing happens to them, whatever, they just go dormant. So they're not having that active level of estrogen and progesterone anymore. That's how it works. And then if you're in menopause, your ovaries are permanently dormant. So actually having, being on a birth control mimics menopause for your body in terms of ovary production of these hormones. Yeah. In fact, when we do Dutch testing, when we do hormone testing, and we look at what your levels are, I see this, and part of your intake form of when you fill this out is asking if you're on birth control, that type of a thing, because I will see gals that are in their mid-20s and they're taking the Dutch test and their levels, and they get worried. They're like, oh my gosh, I looked at my test when I got my results in. It says I'm in menopause. It says I'm in menopause here. My levels are so low, I'm in menopause. I'm like, you're not really in menopause. It just looks like that because your ovaries are dormant, and that's what the birth control is doing. It's preventing you from releasing an egg. So it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. There you go, right? Again, there's different types of birth control and all those other things. Yes, right? But a lot of them make your ovaries go dormant so they don't pop out an egg every other month, every other month. It goes, it should go, typically it should go like right side 1 month, left side the next month, right? So it's like January this side, February this side, March, April, in case you weren't aware. That's how ovaries typically work. So when we're talking about eating for your cycle in general, and then what happens during birth control, that your levels are dropped, and it mimics menopause, like this, right? Right? Just much lower levels. What's the benefit then of eating for your hormones? Does it do anything? Yes, it does. Because for most gals, they are going to want to come off of the birth control at some point and have their hormones take over naturally. This allows you to have a pattern that for your body to follow naturally. And the other benefit to this, just like seed cycling, just like using, you know, sesame and sunflower seeds during your progesterone phase to help your body produce and maintain and process the right amount of progesterone, and pumpkin and flaxseed during the estrogen phase to help your body produce and maintain the right amount of estrogen here. A big piece of eating for your cycle is helping your body transition and have that phasic, cycle happen. So it's not just about producing that, but it's about helping keep it at the right level in your system. It's about helping your system process it through. So very similar to how seed cycling can work in your body, same thing with eating for your hormones and your cycle. It has a benefit to helping keep those levels moving through your system and how your liver processes things, how the rest of your system in your body responds to these hormone levels. So that's the benefit of it. It does help with an overall pattern, establish a pattern, and keep your hormones on track. Because even if you're on a birth control, being under stress can shift and change that. And we also know that, a birth control is not effective 100% of the time. Your hormones can override that. Your hormones, you can still ovulate. That's why I have a son. I was on birth control. So, personal experience here. Speaking from personal experience. Right? Your system is still going to function and have hormones doing their thing. Yes. So that's the benefit of eating for your hormones in your cycle. And then the other thing that I will recommend for gals, especially if they're on a birth control and they're like, I have to be on a birth control for birth control purposes right now. This just is what it is. But how can I help my hormones or some of the other symptoms that come along with it? That's where these tinctures come into. Not only eating for your cycle, but also using these tinctures to help maintain and process through estrogen and progesterone. That's why these herbs are so beneficial for the female body. That's why so many gals that have started using these notice an improvement or a shift right away. And a decrease in spotting, right? A shift and change in PMS. All that other stuff changes even if they're on a birth control because of what these herbs do for your system. So again, you're supporting that with some tinctures, with some herbs there, as well as eating for your hormones in your cycle. So these are all things that we teach you how to do when you are in the Female Hormone Solution program. And the next program I have is a 6-month program. We dive in and we really get to the root of your issue, and then we have enough time to work on it and really, really make a big difference overall. So that is eating for your hormones in your cycle. Other resources I have for you if you're looking for it, of course, are my podcast, The Female Health Solution. Lots of great episodes. I've got some really amazing episodes coming out. I'm so excited. So make sure if you like podcasts that you tune in there. The herbs are nutritionforhormones.com. Nutritionforhormones.com. I'll see if I can put a link in the comments too. Yes, but that's where, just click. You can get them shipped to you. They come in a bundle. Yeah, so that's what I got for you guys tonight. Let me know if there's any other questions or anything else. Again, you can always leave a comment. I will respond to comments. I do respond to the comments, so I appreciate if you have questions or need anything else, always leave it in a comment and I will get to it. Otherwise, I will see you guys later.